Once upon a time in a peaceful village, a man lived named Arun, whose life had been anything but easy. Arun was a poor potter, his hands calloused from years of molding clay. Yet he barely has enough money to feed himself. Throughout his life, misfortune seemed to follow him like a shadow. His wife died years ago. Arun had been raising their only son, Ravi, alone. The older he got, the more Arun felt that fate was determined to haunt him. One year, the river that filled the villagers' fields and the clay for his pots dried up from a long drought. Arun could not make his pots without the river. Without pots he could sell, he had nothing. Villagers created murmurings of discontent and shook their heads with sympathy as they commented upon him. Arun's misfortune has no bounds. They said, "What will be next?" After watching all the hardships, Arun packed his things and decided to seek clay elsewhere. He walked for days under the burning sun, his feet sore and his mouth parched. Finally reaching the riverbanks of Foreign River, and was amazed at the rich, dark clay he found, some of the truest clay he had ever seen. His heart swelled with gratitude. He filled his sacks and walked home with the sacks in tow. When Arun came back, he went right to work. His hand-shaped pots, vases, and pitchers, which were each more lovely than the ones before. A hope was born again in his heart, and he worked vigorously. He labored for weeks, but a night came when a terrible windstorm howled through the village and toppled Arun's fragile works of art, leaving him only shards. As Ravi looked at his ruined work, he said, "Father, why does fate do this to us?" Arun smiled and said, "My son, what good is sorrow? The storm has taken the pots, but it has not taken my hands. I will simply start again." Arun truly determined to start again, day and night. He worked tirelessly, and this time there were much more resilient pots. He exercised much patience to haul them to the town market. When he arrived, the people marveled at his creations, and once again Arun sold every last piece he had made. As more news spread about Arun and his nice body of pottery, he was suddenly earning more than before. But fate had yet another test to give. One day while he was returned from the market, he was ambushed by a group of bandits on the forest path. They took everything, his earnings, his pots, even his cart. Left with nothing but clothes on his back, Arun dusted himself off and walked home. When Ravi heard of this, he was furious. How can you endure so much misfortune and remain unshaken? Why you not give up? Arun placed a comforting hand on his son's shoulder. "Ravi, listen carefully. A seed buried in the ground does not curse the darkness. It trusts that with time, it will rise toward the sun. When the river dries, does it stop flowing forever? No, it finds another path. Likewise, I will not despair. I will find another way." True to his word, Arun borrowed a small amount of money from a merchant and resumed his work. But this time, instead of making ordinary pots, he crafted pieces more intricate and beautiful than ever before. He experimented with new techniques, mixing different clays and creating pots with mesmerizing designs. People from distant villages came by them, and soon he had rebuilt everything he had lost. As his prosperity grew, Arun did not forget the hardships he had faced. He began teaching young apprentices his knowledge so that others could also learn the art of pottery. He told them stories of resilience and patience, emphasizing that every obstacle was simply another chance to grow stronger. One day, a rich merchant from a faraway kingdom visited that village. He saw Arun's craftsmanship and was so impressed that he ordered hundreds of pots to take back to his homeland. With this single order, Arun's reputation soared beyond the valley, making him one of the most sought-after potters in the land. But Arun's trials were not over. A sudden earthquake struck the village, toppling houses and shattering his entire workshop. Once again, Ravi looked at his father with tear-filled eyes. "Father, everything is gone again. How much more can we endure?" Arun, though saddened, did not waver. He walked through the ruins, picking up fragments of his broken pots. "Ravi, these shards remind me that even in destruction, there is beauty. We will rebuild." And so, with the help of the villagers who had come to admire Arun's perseverance, a new workshop was built, bigger and stronger than before. His story spread far and wide, inspiring people to face their struggles with unwavering determination. Years passed, and Arun's life transformed completely. He was no longer a struggling potter, but a prosperous one. Yet, he remained humble and kind. When people asked him the secret to his unbreakable spirit, he simply smiled and said, "A pot must endure fire to become strong. So, too, must we endure hardship to reveal our true strength." As time went on, Ravi grew older and took over the pottery business. One day, his kiln collapsed in the middle of the night, reducing weeks of hard work to ashes. Ravi, for the first time in his life, felt the full weight of despair. But then, he remembered his father's words. "The fire does not destroy," he murmured to himself. "It strengthens." The next morning, he gathered the villagers and began rebuilding the kiln, much like his father had rebuilt his life over and over again. The people of the village watched and understood that Arun's legacy was not just in his pottery, but in his unwavering faith in the future. And so, Arun's story became a lesson passed from generation to generation. Parents told their children about the potter who never gave up, and elders reminded the young of his strength. Through his unwavering positivity, he taught that no storm, no drought, no thief, and no disaster could truly defeat a person who refused to surrender to despair. His legacy lived on not just in the beautiful pots he crafted, but in the spirit of resilience he had instilled in the hearts of those who heard his tale. His story became a guiding light, reminding everyone that even in the harshest trials, hope and determination would always pave the way forward. Even in the darkest times, a positive heart finds a way to shine. Hardship does not break those who embrace it as a teacher, but hardship makes them unbreakable.